Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. Welcome to MFSN, the Hub's fantasy football strategy show, Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'm Dr. Dan Ratner, and I'm here as always with Casey, Vlad to the Bone, Scheinbold, and Ross the Boss.
Hey, everybody, Ross the Boss here. I'm excited. We have waiver wire on Tuesday, and today we're with you. It's going to be great. I'm excited. It's going to be unbelievable.
Very, very exciting. Let's talk about some of the fantasy news of this week. Of course, our cover boy, Sam Darnold. I mean, we've seen some of these stories before. Sometimes like guys get it together and you're like, oh my God, he's actually a decent quarterback. Is this for real? I want to start off there.
Oh my.
4-0. I gotta say he's 4-0. He's him and Jefferson have been a great combination. Casey called this. He said Sam Darnold's MVP. He said, no, I'm just kidding, Casey.
No, I did not
recall.
I want to see how long I can do it without him.
My favorite was everybody in the preseason saying, well, you got to drop Jefferson down a few pegs because he doesn't have a quarterback.
Guilty as
I mean, we all felt that, didn't we?
I kept him at number 2. I want to point that out.
Okay.
Smart.
So yes,
I'm
shocked that Sam Darnold is undefeated and he's considered a top 5 quarterback right now. Yes.
I mean, of course we're surprised, but is it for real?
I don't. As long as they keep winning, it's for real. I mean, Aaron Jones is averaging like 100 yards from scrimmage every game. So their running game is working well. Their defense has been legit. They've got 2 very good receivers. They've got a tight end coming back in the next probably 2 weeks, who's legit also. You ride the hot hand. I don't think he's Aaron Rodgers.
I know, but they're refusing to answer. But I actually think this is for real. I think Sam Darnold is the next like Baker Mayfield 2.0, where you realize he's actually going to turn out to be a good quarterback. I think he's going to stick. That's my guess. I'm going out on a limb.
Darnold will stick.
That's what I think.
I say he digresses. I say he's not going to be undefeated, of course, but I say he digresses and he'll come back down to earth by November. That's my prediction.
There's going to be regression. It's just he's not a top 5 quarterback in the league. He might be a legit starter in the league going forward, but I think regression is going to be pretty natural. They're 4-0. Nobody predicted the Vikings.
No, and people are going to start scheming for him. The regression is possible. Digression also possible. He could start talking about other things. But the thing is,
I digress.
I'm just saying I think he's going to stick as an actual starting quarterback in the NFL, which we did not see coming. So we'll see. That's my prediction.
What does that mean for J.J. McCarthy when he's healthy next year?
I don't know.
He'll be holding a clipboard and he'll be taking notes.
They are what we thought they were.
It's either going to be that or the Vikings are going to trade Darnold, or he'll end up somewhere. He'll end up starting for the Raiders. The Raiders are always starting guys like this
and ruining them.
That's right. Okay, how about Justin Fields? He had a monster week last week. We know he's capable of these things. What do you think?
I think he's for real. Remember 2 years ago, he was drafted as a top 5 or 6 quarterback in fantasy. He might be a better fantasy quarterback than he is a real world quarterback. But the things he does well, he does really well. And they have coaching and a scheme that prevents him from getting into those situations where he's going to make major turnovers. The Bears were coming from behind like by boatloads when he was quarterback there. And so he had to throw the ball a lot more. Mike Tomlin's a genius. I think he can keep him as a real quarterback.
Ross, you agree?
I think he has to get Pickens the ball more. I think that's important. The running game, Warren is out, but who cares about Warren? They have another running back that's a lot better anyway.
Their best running back is Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Fields is what Pittsburgh needed. They needed something exciting. Their offense was stale the past couple of years. I know you guys know that.
It's Cordell Stewart 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great pickup, and just keep Russell Wilson on ice. Don't play him. Keep Fields in there.
Totally
So
agree.
if you're Pittsburgh, do you trade Russell Wilson to Miami right now?
Sure, if they'll take the contract. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, the real Tommy V says he was first. Nice job, Tommy V. He says, hello, everyone. And then he does have a comment here. Here's a hot take. Amari Cooper gets traded by the deadline. Okay, what do you guys think? From a Brown, you think it's going to happen?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, it depends. Nick Chubb's going to be back here in the next couple of weeks. He practiced yesterday in a limited capacity. If they're in anywhere within wild card striking distance, you can't trade your number one when you get your best running back back.
And even I, a lapsed Browns fan, I think they are going to climb back into contention enough. I love the hot take because if they're not in contention, of course they should do that. But
I say Cooper goes back to Dallas.
Ooh, did you read Tommy's comment? Look at this. Back to Dallas.
No, he doesn't read.
Dallas. I think the same thing.
Oh, yeah, we forgot. Ross doesn't read.
I never learned to read.
Cooks is hurt, so that's their number 2. He's gone.
Cook.
And I think that Cooper will go back to Dallas. That's my prediction. And I think Davante Adams will be gone too. I think he'll be a Saint or maybe even a Jet. Davante Adams. So those are the two teams they're talking about him going to. So we'll see what happens.
Well, he wants to either be with Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers. It's not very original of him.
Right. All right. Yeah. Albert Merriquin says, good afternoon. Albert, great to see you as always. Get your questions in early here, guys, because it's Rosh Hashanah and you're talking to 3 Jews. So we're going to be cutting out pretty soon. We're going to stay here for a good half hour though. So get your questions in. Let's talk about the Jets because, I was thinking about what's his name? The wide receiver, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
He definitely is not only one of the disappointments that I've seen in the fantasy season, but he's one that I predicted. I was like, I cannot imagine him producing. I was super high on him coming into when he was drafted, but I did not like his landing spot with the Jets. Then when Aaron Rodgers went there, I thought maybe there's some hope, but we're still not seeing it.
Yeah, it's disheartening because I was a big fan of Garrett Wilson in this offseason too. I had him pretty high on my list. And, I wish I had an answer for you, but he's definitely on the disappointing list.
What do you do if he's on your fantasy team? Do you deal him at 85% value?
I don't even think you could get 85%.
It might be 70% value.
Yeah, now. I was going to say it's, and if they do get Davante Adams, then it's at 40% value.
Okay, so I mean, what do you do? Do you hold him?
I hold. Trade? I think I have to hold him and hope.
I think when value's down that much, you just got to hold and hope.
Yeah, I'm hoping like in the next 2 weeks he has a big game, and then if you want to trade him, wait till he gets the 130 and 2 touchdowns, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, the chemistry's finally there. Look what the rest of the season."
And then trade him because the value can go up week to week. Ross, what were you going to say?
I was going to say Garrett Wilson. He's for sure somebody I would try to trade if I had him on my team. I don't think he's going to have a big year. I never really was pushing him at all on any of my fantasy friends at all. I just felt he was not at the same level as some other receivers that were top 1 or top 2 tier guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel that right now is a good time to get rid of him if you can, because I don't think it's going to get better.
I agree. I'm not seeing a lot of good signs.
I don't either.
Okay. Real Tommy V says Davante Adams to Buffalo, and it would be lethal, which it certainly would be.
Yeah.
Do we think that could happen?
Buffalo.
I mean, Josh Allen would love Davante Adams, I'm sure. They're winning without him right now.
Well, what do you guys think about Shakir? Is he a true wide receiver 1 now?
I mean, he gets targets, Casey. I mean,
he gets targets, but I don't see him as he's not a big outside receiver like Davante Adams is, who can high point the ball, catch contested catches. He's lightning fast and has great hands, but I see him more as a secondary receiver or a slot receiver who could be lethal in that sort of, slot mold of even like an Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown is more diminutive. He's not going to be your deep ball threat who's going to catch. That's why they went and drafted Jamison Williams. I think they would complement each other perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking at it from like a dynasty or keeper league perspective, I'm probably not keepers, but dynasty league, Shakir's going up. But I just see that
I haven't heard Buffalo in the mix for Davante. I just heard.
I haven't heard it, but it's more just like wishful thinking.
I mean, Kansas City's in dire need for a receiver right now.
Okay, wait, let's talk about Kansas City.
Rice is out for 4 weeks.
But there's no way the Raiders are going to trade within the division and give Patrick Mahomes a number 1. If anybody, that's where the Browns should trade Amari Cooper.
Well, what they want, the Raiders want a number 1 pick.
They want a second rounder, I heard.
They want a first rounder. I read it.
Okay.
So whoever gives them,
they should be able to get that for Davante Adams at this point, I would think.
But imagine like Buffalo with Keon Coleman being able to learn from Devontae Adams for a
Yeah,
year or two.
no, it'd be great.
It's an underrated part of the idea about why you acquire a player. I mean, he can teach Keon Coleman. Let's talk a little bit about Patrick Mahomes, though. When Tyreek Hill left the Chiefs, everyone thought Tyreek Hill is now going to go way downhill because he's not playing with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. What has interestingly happened instead is Tyreek Hill has had some of his absolute best seasons, and Patrick Mahomes is kind of a mid-level QB1 right now, as far as I can tell.
He's actually a low-end QB1 right now. I think he has 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the season, something like that. Like, his numbers are not in the top 10 right now.
Well, this to me is one of those examples where this is the opposite of some other players we talked about, like why am I blanking on the name? The Steelers quarterback that we just talked about, Justin Fields. I feel like Patrick Mahomes is a better actual football player than a fantasy player right now. I mean, he's still one of the best quarterbacks of all time. You can count on him to win. But the problem from a fantasy perspective is the Chiefs are trying to win Super Bowls. They don't care about anything else.
Right. And I think scheme has a lot to do with it. I mean, Andy Reid is an offensive genius. He has been since his days in Philadelphia with McNabb and Terrell Owens and all of them. But Mike McDaniel is different in Miami in terms of he schemes to get these guys open to make big splashy plays and the run after the catch stuff. They don't have an elite defense, so he's looking to score on every possession. Kansas City for the last 2+ years has been a top 8 or 9 defense in the league with Jones and that pass rush and stuff. And I think they're more that traditional West Coast dink and dunk offense where it's not producing the same fantasy numbers. You don't have Tyreek Hill who can take that dink and dunk 87 yards and score a touchdown with it. Travis Kelce's lost a step. Isaiah Pacheco's hurt. That doesn't help. So there's a lot of reasons why he's not a great fantasy quarterback right now. I'm not saying I wouldn't buy low on him if the opportunity presented itself, but
well, how about from a dynasty perspective? Like, are you gonna sell him because there's really great value in there? But is this more permanent that he's downgraded because of Tyreek Hill?
I guess it depends on the other variables of my team. If it's a super flex, there's no way you're trading Patrick Mahomes. I don't, because if he's your quarterback number 2, like, congratulations,
you're in very
the best
good
team in the league, right? But if you have, let's say you were lucky enough to draft a Jaden Daniels or a Caleb Williams or somebody like that, or Justin Fields, you picked him up because whoever wanted him wasn't happy. And you can get real good value for Patrick Mahomes and not hurt your future, you got to consider it.
You might want to. I mean, Ross, you've been really high on Xavier Worthy.
I like Xavier Worthy. I like Patrick Mahomes. I think if you can get him, if you can trade for him and get him as your starting quarterback for the rest of the season, I think he'll just get better and better. I think he started off the month of September not that great, but I think he'll pick it up in October, November, December, and that's the main reason you want him right now.
I agree, Ross.
His stock is down. I mean,
he's a buy low.
Like you said, 4 interceptions, 6 touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes in 4 games. It's horrible.
I also just think people are underestimating how can Patrick Mahomes care that much in September.
I agree and disagree.
LeBron
he wants to win every game. I mean,
he does. I'm not saying he doesn't care.
He doesn't, but he wants to win every game, however, by any means necessary. So he doesn't care if he's the center of it. Like, he's actually like a true team quarterback in that sense. Kind of like Tom Brady, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, was never, except for his 1 year with Randy Moss, was never an elite fantasy quarterback. He just knew how to win every game. And that's
pretty good years. But I just feel Mahomes with his team, with his starting running back being out for a while, his starting receiver is going to be out for 4 weeks now. I mean, he's losing all these weapons, and I just don't know how he's going to do it.
How long do they say Rashee Rice is going to be out?
4 weeks. Starting
it's better than they thought.
That was better, right? We thought he was probably out for the year.
Guys, so those are a lot of weapons to be gone.
Yeah.
But for some reason, every week Kansas City is always winning. I mean, it's amazing. They just keep winning and winning and winning, and it's just all on Mahomes' shoulders. And
And the defenses, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
the defense, 100%.
They haven't won any shootouts.
I mean, Travis Kelce hasn't done anything this year. I mean, he's a bust.
He was 6 or 7 receptions last week, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Well, let's
no touchdowns, but yeah, I guess so.
Let's talk about tight end in general. Tight end has been a huge bust everywhere, which is not that much of a surprise, but even at the top, it's been a bust. So I'm wondering about a player like TJ Hawkinson. He's going to be coming back soon. And now Darnold's actually looking like a viable quarterback. Yeah. Is he somebody you're scooping up everywhere you have?
If he's available, yeah, I'm going to scoop him up. Absolutely.
I mean, if you have room on your injury reserve on your roster, for sure.
I mean, for people who like me, who traded for Hawkinson in Dynasty and then saw his value go way down because Kirk Cousins left, and he had the injury, then Cousins left.
Yep.
We're all feeling a lot better now, seeing Darnold can actually quarterback the team. At least
you're feeling better. You know, it's sad to say you feel better if you have Hawkinson on your roster right now than if you have Mark Andrews
or Kyle Pitts. I mean,
Pitts.
Pitts is one of the biggest busts in fantasy football, and
Casey, you sent around a text about that draft class. Who were the top 4? Trevor Lawrence,
Zach Wilson. Third was
Kyle Pitts was 4th.
There was another quarterback third.
Right. Who was it? I'm blanking. Well, in any case,
Trey Lance.
I actually thought Zach Wilson and Trey Lance were busts at the time, but I really did.
But everybody thought Trevor Lawrence was the real deal.
Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't have seen on the radar at all for that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple other guys. I'm gonna play a game here. It's basically would you trade high on these players or not? Some of them I definitely don't think so. So I'm not trying to lead you in any direction. But okay, James Conner. He had a great week last week. 18 carries, 104 yards, a touchdown, 1 reception. He seems to do this all the time. Are you trading James Conner or are you holding?
I'm holding James Conner because he's been consistent every year. Yes, he's going to miss 3 or 4 games with an injury at some point, but when he's in there, he produces. And you can't beat the floor that James Conner gives you. And the guys, who would you try to get to replace him that you have as a higher ceiling and has a safe floor? Nobody.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you can package him maybe with somebody and get an upgrade, if you have that kind of depth, maybe. But he's not a player clearly to move. How about this one? This one's going to make you guys laugh. Malik Neighbors. Is this at all a sell high situation?
He's a concussion right now. I mean, I don't know if he's playing this week, Casey. Have you heard anything?
Not yet. No.
The latest news is that he's a long shot to play this.
He's a concussion and he's a rookie.
But he's the real deal. I mean, he's getting 40+% of the volume. He's getting 12 to 15 targets a game.
He's a monster,
and he's elite. I mean, he catches, he runs, he's physical.
He's another LSU receiver, Casey. That's going to be a first-round pick next year in our fantasy draft.
Yeah, I'm not. If I'm in Dynasty, I'm ecstatic. If I'm in Keeper League, I'm ecstatic. If I'm in Redraft League, I'm ecstatic.
The Giants are not going to play him unless he's 100%. They're not going to risk this. I mean, they're not stupid. So,
how about?
I would if they could get something good for Neighbors like a Tariq Hill, something that level, yes. But if you can't, no.
All right. What's the latest news on Anthony Richardson? We need to talk about that just because I'm thinking about like a guy like Michael Pittman trying to value him. What's the latest on him and Jonathan Taylor? The Colts are having some.
Jonathan Taylor is a long shot to play. He's not practicing today. He didn't practice yesterday. I don't see him playing, which is a shame because I have him in our Dynasty League. Richardson, I've not heard anything. Right? They're not talking. I mean, the Colts are really close about.
They're playing it close to the best.
Look, if I own any one of the wide receivers, though, I'm hoping that it's Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm looking up to see if there's any updates on Richardson. It says he was limited in practice again, but we know that doesn't mean anything. They're just not labeling it.
Yeah, all right, it's so weird. It's when we talked quarterbacks in fantasy beginning of the year. We even said like Richardson's going to get hurt. I mean,
we all called it.
I didn't want to predict that, but I just said, this guy runs too much and he takes hits, and I just knew that was going to happen with the kid. He just doesn't. No one's told him that these guys are bigger and faster in the NFL compared to college football.
Well, like we talked about, it's the style of play. And listen, I hate to see what happened to Tua, but it's in some ways weirdly the same thing with him.
Yeah.
He needs to know how. He just has to slide. You got to protect yourself. We got a couple of questions coming. Albert Mariquin is asking Jaden Daniels, and I did want to get you guys' take on both of these guys. Jaden Daniels or Jordan Love this week?
Wow.
Well, Green Bay's in LA this week, so I'm taking Jordan Love.
For me, I don't
know. I haven't look. If I have them both in the top 5 this week. Wow. I don't think you can go wrong. You got Jaden Daniels, who's been on fire and can do it with his legs, going against Cleveland in Washington. And then you got Jordan Love on the road in LA, a week further removed from his injury. You can't go wrong with either. I just like the idea that Jaden Daniels is going to run at least one in, and I can't say that about Jordan Love. So if I had to pick between the two,
and I'm the opposite.
Week, I'm taking Jaden Daniels.
I'm the opposite. I'm going to pick Jordan Love every time in this exchange for a while.
I see the Rams Green Bay game is like a 35-28 type situation.
Oh, I don't think the Rams are going to put up a lot of points. That's my other fear. I think they don't have any wide receivers.
Dr. Dan Ratner's flying after the game. He'll be playing. Don't worry.
I'll be playing, yes, and that's a danger
so I think,
for everyone involved.
I just think Jaden Daniels is. I think it could be a Josh Jacobs game if it's low scoring, and that hurts Jordan Love.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, I understand the game flow idea case, and I don't disagree with you generally speaking in terms of watching out for that. But game flow also can sometimes be a bit overrated because,
sure.
I mean, the Packers are going to try to jump out to a 3 to 4 touchdown lead.
But I guess here's my question.
Yeah.
If you have, we both have them, we all have them ranked pretty high going into this week, I assume, because
sure,
they're tasty matchups. So if you have them ranked practically like 3 and 4 or 4 and 5, but one is a dual threat and the other is coming off a knee injury, why?
True.
I would go with the dual threat.
I totally get it. However, you're also dealing with a rookie.
I agree.
And I'm not a huge Browns fan, but they do have a lot of really good defensive players. They could rattle him.
Did you see the game Love had last week coming off the injury? I mean, did you guys watch how many touchdowns?
I mean, Jordan Love is hard to sit in any situation.
I mean,
at this
he had
point.
4 touchdown passes last week. I mean, he coming off an injury.
So Albert, you've got 2 out of 3 of us are saying Jordan Love.
I mean, Daniels for me. I mean, I love him. I mean, I was very high on him at the beginning of the season. I thought he was a lot better than Khalid Williams. I was very vocal about it. Not because he went to Arizona State, Casey. Not because
he started there. He didn't actually go there.
It doesn't matter. I count him as a Sunday.
No, I just look. It's Cliff Kingsbury's offense. We all know what Kyler Murray did his rookie season with Cliff Kingsbury with his 3,500 passing yards and 600 rushing yards and what was it, 27 total touchdowns. I don't think being a rookie hurts you that much when you're a dual threat. But you can't go wrong. But whoever you start, don't be upset if the one on the bench does better.
Yep.
All right.
It's legit.
I completely agree. But that's another reason I start Love. I wouldn't want to regret that. Okay, the real Tommy V says, you guys should go for an hour. Tommy, I love that you're cheering us on. I know Casey can't. Ross, I don't think you can either. But next week, I'll tell you what, we'll do that. All right?
We will.
I'm here for it.
Next week for sure.
All right. Real Tommy V says Jaden. He's on the Jaden team. So if you're counting Real Tommy V, it's 2-2.
That's fine.
But then Real Tommy V says listen to Casey. So it's 3-2. Oh no, wait, he's getting 2 votes. That doesn't work.
Okay. As many of you, I want to run a trade idea by you guys and hear your input on it. Because for those of you in a dynasty league, I decided to put some big names on the trade block this week because my team consists of Tua Tagovailoa and Isaiah Pacheco, and
you realize you need to retool at least.
It's time. So I put Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, and Sam Darnold on, but nobody's taking the bite at Sam Darnold in dynasty, and I respect that.
Yep.
So
I'm interested because you have McCarthy. I would deal for the 2 of them.
Right, but
we don't match up.
Right. And so my team needs to retool. So I was looking for draft picks. I had somebody offer me 2 for this and the next 2 years, first round draft picks and a second for Jahmyr Gibbs. I had somebody offer me Garrett Wilson and a first for Jahmyr Gibbs and a second. I don't like that one as much. And then I got from one of the guys went nuclear with his trade offer.
Oh, yeah.
He wants Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kenneth Walker, and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh, wow.
Okay, but what?
Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Puka Nakua, Rashid Shaheed, a first-round pick this year, and a third-round pick this
So
year.
this isn't the league we're in. This is a different league.
This is a different one.
That
It's
okay.
a lot
So
of players.
I just want to say, from first hearing it, it doesn't actually sound good to me. It sounds like a lot of high-risk players. I mean, it's a good offer in certain ways, but I don't know. It feels to me like if you dealt those players separately, you're actually going to get more.
Probably.
I kind of
But
like
it's all
the Gibbs.
good name value. Jonathan Taylor is only 25 or 26.
But that's actually the part of the
25.
deal I hate most.
I know.
You do not want to take on a 25-year-old running back in Dynasty who's
with
been
injury
injured.
issues.
I like the first round picks for Gibbs. I really get the. I don't know.
Well, here's the other question. You got to remember, which team are you dealing with? If you're dealing with a serious competitor, those are going to be back end first round picks.
He's currently in 5th place.
All right,
So
but you got to make sure that.
But I'm giving him Jahmyr Gibbs.
Right.
Now,
so his
Gibbs
picks
is
are
on a
going to
bye
get
this week, so hopefully he craps the bed and goes 0-2 this week, and then he's down in 7th or 8th place. But yeah, it is. The picks could be, which is part of the reason I don't want to do the swap of picks with the Garrett Wilson or Jalen Waddle. He offered me either of them and his first, because he's a top of the league. So his first round pick will be like the 12th pick or 11th pick. And then my second round pick, which he wants from me, will be like the 1st or 2nd pick of the second round.
This sounds like Ben.
It is.
It's Big B. We call him the Big B in the business.
The Big B.
The Big B. Yeah.
All right, let's jump back.
My suggestion is, I would try to hold on to Gibbs, but if somebody offers me 2 first round draft picks, I would probably consider it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would probably start off trying to move Walker in that situation. If somebody bites on Darnold, great, but I would try to move Walker first.
The problem is my quarterbacks are Tagovailoa, and then McCarthy. You can put McCarthy and Darnold together, and Daniel Jones.
All right. Well,
and Bryce Young.
I mean, look, I agree with you. I agree with you that it's time to sell. It's
Bryce
time.
Young. I mean, you have a plethora of bad.
It's time to sell. But Casey, find a competitor who has someone else's first round pick.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what you want to do, and then go for that. All right. Real Time Movie says he'll be here for the hour-long episode next week. We look forward to it. Love having you here. Then he says, after week 8, Garrett Wilson's schedule looks good. What do you guys think? Does the schedule matter?
He's not getting the ball. Rodgers isn't throwing the ball. He's throwing it to Lazard. He's throwing it to the tight end Conley, whatever his name is. I mean, they're not getting him the ball or targets.
Even Breece Hall doesn't look good on the Jets. Like, nobody looks good on the Jets.
It's just not good. Rodgers is not using his weapons. He's
JETS, just end the season. Okay, I'm going to ask about 2 more players.
Okay, go.
We talked about Chase Brown as a sleeper.
2 touchdowns last week. Yeah,
a really good week.
Anymore.
Is he? Well, I mean, is he emerging as somebody who's just going to knock that boss out of the ball?
As much as I love the Bengals guys, I mean, they're just not. They're not good. I mean, the defense is horrendous. They're giving up a lot of yards, and Burrow's inconsistent. So I'm not going to say anything good about the Bengals right now. So
all right.
Chase Brown, no, I wouldn't want him no. I have him on my team on some leagues too.
And I think, if you got him for cheap, definitely hold on to him.
Yeah.
I think this is probably your last chance to buy him.
I guess.
Well, I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be a monster. I think
the only way the Bengals win is
player.
if they start throwing the ball to Chase and to Higgins. That's it. They're not going to win giving the ball to Chase Brown.
Well, listen. He's not like it's not like he's some kind of special talent, but you got to look for the roles.
Listen, I'm frustrated. Casey's frustrated with his team, and you're frustrated with your team. So we're all frustrated.
But who's my team? Actually, I started rooting for the Texans, and they started playing badly.
Really quick, Dan.
Yeah.
You know who leads the NFL in receiving yards right now?
I believe it's Nico Collins.
It's Nico Collins.
Yep. Well, we were all over that.
I mean, you were all over Houston beginning of the season, and you mentioned Houston. I think of Dr. Dan Ratner. So I think Houston's your team. That's why I'm going to say.
Okay, well, if it happens, Houston, I'm sorry. But CJ Stroud actually hasn't. I mean, he's looked good as the eye test for
so
quarterback.
Far. But again, we're just starting.
But the thing is, he's been mediocre with Nico Collins exploding like that. It's kind of a little disconcerting.
And Joe Mixon,
If Nico Collins doesn't remind you of Andre Johnson, if you remember Andre Johnson from the Texans back in the day,
Yep.
like same, like big, strong, fast, like just fierce looking on the field. It's like he's a clone of him.
Yeah, he's a beast. And Joe Mixon's coming back this week for Houston, and so is their other receiver too. So I mean, they're getting their weapons back in Houston. So I do not want to play them next week.
All right, so Real Time V is talking about Aaron Rodgers. He says, I believe in Aaron Rodgers' watch. He says he's a Dolphins fan. But Aaron is like a snake, and then he says, talking Aaron in real life as a quarterback, not in fantasy. He sucks. He sucks there. What's your take on Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. I don't trust the Jets with anything.
2 weeks ago, he looked like it was like the best quarterback in the league again. And then last week, the weather was terrible. That didn't help.
Listen, last year, we'll finish up on this, but the Browns were playing the Jets to try to clinch a playoff spot. And I watched that game, and it was like watching the Cleveland Browns on the other side of the ball. Yeah. I was like, anytime they could do something wrong, they did over and over and over. I mean, I feel bad for Jets fans. I feel bad for Browns fans too, but I'm not either one of them. So
you're not, and you're very vocal about not being a Browns fan anymore, and I don't blame you. They're hard to watch, and it's not. I don't think they'll get
abusive towards the fans. I decided I don't need that. All right, we're gonna wrap up here, guys. Real Time V says, great show, guys. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you for being here with us. Thanks, Albert. Everybody else who's been watching. We're sorry it's short today, but it is Rosh Hashanah, so we got to run off. I don't know what we're doing, but we're celebrating the new year. In any case, it's been a pleasure. Casey, Ross, this was great. Next week, are you guys doing the Waiver Wire show on Tuesday?
Absolutely. 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. We'll have our picks ready to roll. We'll make you guys pick up these players so you can win your league. I mean, this is the most important time right now for Waiver Wire. Just everybody knows.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. So pay attention on Tuesdays to Ross and Casey's Waiver Wire show. It's 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We're here at the same time on Thursdays with me for some strategy talk and trades and all that other stuff, and just reviewing how the week ahead is going to be. So it's been great, guys. Thanks for being here with us, Real Time V, and we will see you next week.
I like Tampa Bay tonight, and I think my man Mayfield will have a big game. How about that, Dr. Dan?
I love it. I actually want Baker Mayfield to just go bananas. I want him to go ballistic because the Browns made a mistake with him, and now, the Bears did the same thing with Justin Fields, and they're going to pay for it. Both franchises haven't had quarterbacks. They finally get a quarterback, and they ditch them for some new hot toy. It's ridiculous.
Dan's very bitter. Okay.
But I'm not that bitter. I don't care anymore. But I just think it's, I watch the Bears. They're doing the same thing. It's hard to watch. It's like watching a train wreck. All right, guys, we'll be here same time next week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Looking forward to seeing you then. Take care till then.